Hello, everyone. It is Misha Green. I am super excited to be live with the amazing mezzo-soprano and performer, Janae Bridges. Obviously, many of you have been introduced to Janae because of her awesome opera career, so we're going to get to talk about that. But there's so much we can talk about from her current or home delivery series, Home Delivery Plus series with Washington Performing Arts, all that she's done with the Met, and just tons of things to catch up on top of the fact that we're still in the middle of a pandemic and somehow this woman is still finding the time to create. We gotta hear all about that. But you guys know the drill. Before we even get started in the nitty-gritty of the interview, we have to share the stream. So I'm gonna go ahead and do the same. And for those tuning in, you know my motto, sharing is caring. So go ahead and do the same. And while I'm sharing, Janae, share with us how you're doing. How is life for you? Almost now, I think we're a day away or 2 days away from when the World Health Organization officially declared that we were in a pandemic. How has this year been for you?
Well, first of all, hello. I'm super happy to be with you today, Misha. Thank you for having me. This has been a bizarre year for everyone. I actually, about a year ago, this time a year ago, was in Washington, D.C., singing Samson and Delilah and making my Washington National Opera and Kennedy Center debut. So it's very surreal that we are speaking at this time. And, you know, I am grateful because I am extremely busy. I never imagined that I would be busy during a pandemic, but this time has actually allowed me to really dig into my creative juices, which I don't know if I would have been able to do this, you know, had I been going from gig to gig nonstop, which is usually what I am. And I'm not complaining about that. But it's been a very up and down, emotionally, I will say, time. But all in all, I feel extremely blessed and grateful and fortunate to be with myself in this time and ask myself questions about, you know, what I want to do, why I'm here. I've had a pretty good idea about that, but this pandemic has really allowed me to dig deep within myself and my artistry. And I feel very inspired and affirmed in what I'm doing. So I'm good. I'm actually really good. That was a very long-winded way of saying I'm well.
I think that was a very inspirational way of saying that you're well. I mean, I was like holding on to every word and taking it in, because I think we've all sort of had this up and down emotional place. And I'm in the middle of writing an article now about how we've been adjusting to, we've had a year to adjust to this new normal, and it's still not normal, you know.
By any means, yeah.
So it's refreshing to hear you share a piece of your journey, but also that you're well. I think that's great to hear. That's really wonderful to hear, and thank you for your transparency. So take us back. First of all, congratulations. Samson and Delilah was such a great and wonderful run for the Kennedy Center and obviously Washington National Opera, and got a lot of great reviews, and tons of people were, I think, introduced to opera in a different way. Some people had never been to an opera I spoke to said, oh, I went to see Samson and Delilah and really enjoyed it. So first of all, congratulations on that. I can't believe that's a year ago. But take us back to that moment when you were performing in DC and then realized that the world was about to change, that performances might not be a thing for quite some time. Take us to that experience and what that was like for you.
Yeah, I mean, it was incredibly jarring. I had just come off of my Metropolitan Opera debut in New York. And I was having this extremely successful role and house debut of Delilah and Samson and Delilah. And we got to the third show. Actually, we got to the second show, 2 out of 6. And they said, we might not continue the run. And I was just so heartbroken. I was like, oh gosh, I've been preparing for this role for 2 years and it's going so well. And I feel like I'm really at the height of my career right now. Please, like, let's just, please, can we keep going? So we were able to do one more. We got through half of the run and, you know, the CDC said, got to shut down everything. And it happened so fast. I honestly just didn't have time to process until about a week later. I was really sad because we didn't know what was going on. Nobody knew. And it seemed like the news was different every day. And for the arts world, it's just like, well, are we ever going to be able to perform again? Like, what's going on? So, you know, gig after gig was canceled, and it was just really difficult mentally and emotionally. It was almost like being diagnosed with a terminal illness or something. It's like you go through stages, first shock and disbelief, and then you want to fight. So I was actually making a lot of digital content because I was like, no, I got to keep making music. And then the third phase was just like upset and kind of despair. So I just turned off a little bit. I didn't do the socials, and I was just really sad. And then I thought, okay, well, this is what it is. So we need to I need to pick myself up and realize that I am extremely fortunate and blessed to have my gift in me. Like I have my voice. That's not gone. So I'm going to continue to sing and do what I love. And I really honestly feel like I've manifested, with that mindset, I've manifested so much more than I could have ever imagined. I performed with the Los Angeles Philharmonic at the Hollywood Bowl for the Global Citizen event that ended up raising, it was a fundraiser, a global fundraiser for COVID-19. And actually it turned into, it was initially geared towards COVID-19 relief, but then it kind of included Black Lives Matter as well, because it was right after George Floyd was murdered. And it ended up raising $7 billion. I was on the program with Coldplay, Ariana Grande, Justin Bieber. It was incredible. And I just feel, once I changed my mindset, so much started to open up. And I was asking myself these questions. Okay, this is where we are. I don't have any live performances scheduled. They've all been canceled or rescheduled or postponed. So what am I going to do? And the first step was just telling myself that it was okay. It's going to be okay. And giving myself permission and grace to feel all the emotions, but not sulk in them, you know? So yeah, that happened in LA. And then people just started reaching out for digital content. Of course, it's not the same, you know, but I've been super engaged. And because everything is virtual and digital, I've reached so many more people and audiences than I typically would, you know? And for me, it's everything. It's so important for me to expose, to help make opera accessible, because it traditionally is just, it's not. And so I'm grateful because the virtual world right now. I mean, my base has expanded more than I could have imagined. And hopefully when we do get back into the theaters, you know, I'll see more people that look like me, more young people, different productions that actually reflect who we are today. Because opera is beautiful. It's a beautiful art form. It's steeped in tradition and European tradition. So while I truly adore it, it's sometimes very difficult for an American especially to relate to. So I truly feel that things are changing for the better. And speaking of like it being steeped in tradition, I hosted actually a panel with LA Opera, and it was about racism and equality and equity in the opera field. And there was nothing, I mean, there's not ever been anything like that before. It was very scary, but I gathered like some of my closest friends, all African American, and I just said, let's talk. You know, we talk about racism, we talk about the disparities amongst ourselves. Now is the time, if we're gonna talk, let's just go for it so everyone can hear and be uncomfortable, just as we are. So that really, that took place in June, right after George Floyd was murdered, and it kind of really sparked a reckoning in the classical music world. So that was something else that I never anticipated, but they asked me to sing a digital recital, and I just couldn't. I was not in the place. I was upset and I was angry. So I said, you know, I can't do that, but I would love to host a panel and have a conversation. So yeah, we did that. And really also since that moment, I didn't know if there was going to be backlash, if there was going to be retribution. But thankfully, it really did spark a reckoning. And I'm in contact with many major opera houses just about how to actually take action, which has been quite exhausting, I will admit. But I'm hopeful because it's like, okay, that conversation, it didn't seem to fall on deaf ears. And so I've taken on this whole new side of myself as an activist, I guess you can say.
Artivist, I'm a very big fan of.
Oh, I love that. I love that because I was thinking, I've been called activist, and technically, yes, I am, but I feel like when people see activists, often well, white people, I'll just say, like they might feel attacked or something. And it is what it is, but I feel more that I'm an artivist. I like that. And a humanitarian, really. So, oh my gosh, I'm definitely stealing that. Thank you.
It is not my own. I believe, and while we're on, I'm gonna like fact check it and make sure this is where I got it from. But I believe it's the new Broadway has like a new arts activism coalition.
Mm-hmm.
And I believe that their fellows are considered artivists. So I think that's where I've seen it most recently. But now I'm going to check that.
Love that.
I'm definitely going to fact check that one while we're still on. So I first of all, amazing. I have so many questions, and I feel like we're going to have to do another live solely about African Americans and Black people in general people of the African diaspora in classical music. I am super excited that you are part of leading these conversations and serving as an artivist. But I have to ask, what do you see as improvement and the next steps? Is it, which I know we hate this term sometimes, but colorblind casting, right? Is it, as you mentioned earlier, having more work that reflects the human experience right now? What does improvement and more diversity, particularly with Black Americans, look like in the classical music world?
That's a great question. It looks like a lot of things. First of all, it looks like the audience being diverse. I mean, and I feel the only way to get that is for people to see themselves on stage and to see their stories and their lives reflected on stage. And also, many companies, they have outreach programs, and it's like, I don't need you to reach. I need you to go into these communities and get to know them. You can't just go into a community and put on an hour opera show to get people to come, because it's just like, that's nice, but first of all, equity is super important. Opera tickets and classical music tickets in general are super expensive. So it's like, that needs to change. But also, who's making decisions? The leading, the powers that be, and people making higher up decisions. There needs to be a diverse board. There are many people, Black people, people of color with money, and that want to support. But it's like, give me a reason to support, so there's that. Diversifying the board, diversifying, general management, artistic management. Oh, Patrick.
Hi, Patrick.
Hi, Patrick. Also, yeah, I mean, yes, of course, performers on stage. I will say that Black opera singers, we've always been here, and I would say there was a time in the golden ages, but people like to call it, it's like the 80s, 70s, 80s, 60s, 70s, 80s, where there were a plethora of Black American opera singers on stage. And somehow, I don't know why, but it changed. But we are still here. And so when people see themselves on stage, of course they're gonna want to patronize and support, and know more about that. So I think, improving and diversifying, it's on all levels. It's behind the scenes, it's on stage, it's in the orchestra, it's in the conductor's pit, it's on the board, and it's about going into communities and truly making it accessible,
Yeah.
And there are a number of ways in which to do that. I'm not a diversity officer, so I don't know, but I could just imagine that telling stories that people can relate to. There are so many stories to be told, And so while I love the traditional opera, I mean, I absolutely love it. That the music is incredible. The stories are dramatic. I can name some dramatic stories just in growing up, that can be told, of Black women, I mean, there's so many. So those are some ways in which I think diversifying.
I think those are all awesome and really important. And I'm so happy that you started with the notion of having more people that look like you in the audience, because that's really where it starts in terms of accessibility, people knowing, hey, I got to see a Black opera singer live, maybe that's something that I want to do one day, or encourage my children or grandchildren to do. So that's really, really exciting. I'm already shocked that we're at the 20-minute mark and I have like 40,000 questions on what we just talked about. But let me get into the exciting performance that you have coming up with the Home Delivery Plus series with Washington Performing Arts. For our Afro viewers, some of you guys may remember, was it last week or week before last, we had Brene, Ali, and Sean Jones, who I believe they're on now with WPA. Janae's show opens March 26th, I believe, and runs April 1st. And so if you guys remember Sean and Brene, then you already are familiar with what WPA is doing, but they're bringing these great performances right to our living rooms. And I think that's super cool. First of all, Janae, I know that this is not your first rodeo with WPA. You became a Washington Performing Arts favorite when you wowed the crowd at their 2020 Virtual Gala, which again, I think goes back to the fact that you're just able to do so many different things in the virtual world. But tell us about this new opportunity and getting to perform in the historic 6th and I location.
Yes, I'm just so excited to collaborate with WPA again. My first collaboration with them was actually a world premiere of a song cycle by Patrice Michaels, who is the late Justice Ruth Bader Ginsburg's daughter-in-law. And she's a composer. And so she composed a song cycle for the Justice's, I believe, 80th birthday. And so I sang this for her. And that was my first collaboration with WPA. They brought me on and I fell in love with them. So yeah, I'm happy to be back. And I am really, really excited to present my next project with them, which is called Rising Together. And it encompasses many different songs that, for me, encompass, I already said that, but encompass this idea of togetherness, because I feel at this point, this is how we really are truly going to move forward in so many ways. And I feel so incredibly blessed that I can help facilitate that through song. So I'm actually highlighting many of some new and up and coming African American composers that happen to be my friends, and they're living and they're, I say they're living because it's so rare to be able to work
Sure.
hand in hand and side by side with a composer. So I'm super excited to show.
Who's your mommy?
Yes. Oh, that's my mom.
Hi, mommy.
Yes, she's originally from Baltimore, Maryland.
Oh, I love it. Yes, Baltimore. Yes,
Yes.
yes, Maryland.
Thank you for tuning in, Mama. And I believe my sister and probably other family members are on too.
Yeah. Hey, Bridges family.
Yes, thank you. So, where was I? Yeah, I'm super excited to feature composers Dave Ragland, who's based in Nashville, Carlos Simon, who's actually based in Maryland, and we have many projects coming up together. And Shawn Okpebholo, who's based in Chicago, an incredible composer. He's of Nigerian American descent. And Richard Danielpour, yes, thank you. Florence Price, Margaret Bonds, and also a composition of my own. Lester Lynch is playing the piano, who's an incredibly gifted pianist based in Maryland. And we kind of had some issues with getting the rights to a particular song, because now with video in the digital world, you have to have specific rights.
Yeah.
thing. So we were having trouble getting these rights to a particular song. So we said, well, we'll just create our own version of it. So that's going to be exciting as well. But I'm grateful because I just feel like I've been given this platform to help us come together, you know. And in these songs, I am expressing many different emotions that I've gone through personally through the pandemic and in life. So I think it's going to be very powerful and accessible for people because, you know, we share the same emotions, whether they be despair, joy, disappointment. That's all going to be in this program, highlighted in this program, but under the umbrella of we are here together and we must go forward together. Yeah, and I'm also reciting some poetry. I was very inspired by our poet laureate Amanda Gorman.
Yes.
I was very inspired by her, and I am. I hope to collaborate with her.
You've done a lot of manifesting in 2021, so it's happening. And we're gonna have them both on our show to talk about it.
Yes, claim it. It's already done. Yes. So yeah, I'm reciting poetry. I'm actually opening up the program with poetry by Langston Hughes. And I'm not sure if I can say what it is, but I imagine I can. I'm opening up with his poem called Prayer. And it's intense. It says, gather up in the arms of your pity, the sick, the depraved, the desperate, the tired, all the scum of our weary city. Gather up in the arms of your pity. Gather up in the arms of your love. Those who expect no love from above. So I feel like it's very, that poem is very relevant.
To say the least.
To say the least.
Ooh, yeah. I have chills.
That's how it starts off, and then it goes into all different directions. But I'm very excited because I curated it myself, which is something that is new to me, but it's exciting. And I definitely have so much respect for producers because it's a lot. And but I've learned so much. I've learned so much, and it's inspired me to just continue expanding my artistry and what I want to say, who I am, all that good stuff.
No, again, I am so inspired by the fact that you are even being so open and sharing your journey. But I'm like seeing the director wheels turning in you and the producer just to go and, you know. So I do have to ask, because you said you've this time and this opportunity has given you a chance to learn and develop new skills. One, what was one of the biggest challenges and or sort of just, I guess, things what was one of the biggest things presented in this opportunity that you had to overcome? And then I'm disgusted that we are at the 29-minute mark, but in this answer, if you could also just share, why does everyone need to tune in to your performance with Home Delivery Plus and remember that we are rising together?
Yes. I mean, I would say the greatest thing that I've learned is, well, there's so many things, but really organization in terms of like putting it all together, you know, organizing my thoughts and organizing my intentions actually has been a real learning, a real lesson for me. So there's that. And then also it's just like, I've learned that it takes a village. I've always known that, but from the videographers to everyone involved at WPA, everyone is very important and valuable in the process. So that's been great. And yeah, I mean, I highly suggest and advise and encourage people to tune in because, I never talked about 6 and I. It's an incredible, beautiful, beautiful synagogue. The acoustic is a singer's dream. And I just feel right now this program will bring people healing. And I feel like we all need that right now and always. But I truly feel that people will walk away feeling a bit more grounded and whole. So I'm grateful to be a vessel. And yeah, I hope people tune in.
I know that people will tune in. I am very, very excited about this. And I, again, just want to uplift the fact that you are really hoping that this brings healing and that this is an opportunity for people to come together. Boy, do we need that right now. You guys may be wondering what all the craziness in the back is. My dogs are barking in the back. That is why I've been on mute most of this conversation, because I did not want you to miss all of the gems that Janae Bridges dropped today. I cannot believe we are past the 30-minute mark. I just have to do the due diligence and shout out all those that have been tuning in and sending their well wishes. So let me do that before we go. Patrick McCoy, we said hello to you. Thank you so much for tuning in and all the awesome things that you've shared today. Christina Bianco says, love this. Janae Bridges, mezzo-soprano.
Thank you, Christina.
Yes, and thank you for tuning in, Christina. Amanda says, love your questions. Thank you so much, Amanda, and thank you for tuning in. Of course, your mommy has had the sweetest and most wonderful things to say. So thank you, Miss Pam, so much
Thanks.
for tuning in. I at one point I saw, Jasmine B, is that
my sister?
Okay, I figured that was your sister. She says, we're here.
Yes.
Thank you, Jasmine, for tuning in.
Sister.
Samantha Polak is here. Oh, she said that you were allowed to share. So thank you.
Okay.
Thank you, Samantha, Dave Ragland says, congrats, Janae. Thank you, Dave, for tuning in. Love that necklace gift from your sister, Jazzy. Repping Cape Town, South Africa. Yes, I love it. I love it. I love it. Is that where the necklace is from?
Yes, it is. It's from Cape Town, South Africa.
Some of my favorite jewelry is from South Africa. Not all Cape Town, but I studied abroad there doing theater. So
amazing. I want to go so badly.
One day, right? one day, hopefully very soon, those opportunities will be back. Amanda says we all need to feel grounded and whole. Thank you. I saw the Buckle Suite crew tuning in, and now I'm not seeing. There it is. Loving this interview. Can't wait for this show. Janae slayed at the Virtual Gala.
Oh my goodness, so much love. Thank you all so much for tuning in.
Thank you, Janae, just so much for your artistry, for your willingness to come and talk to us today. Anything that the people tuning in and for those that will check out this stream either later on Facebook or on YouTube that you want them to know either about how to keep in touch with you, some cool things coming up, how to rave about you from March 26th to April 1st.
That's so sweet of you. Yeah, I mean, you can follow me. You have listed my website and then my Instagram handle, Janae B. Mezzo. Every day things are changing just because that's the nature of the pandemic right now. But I do have some cool projects coming up and collaborations. I can't name the big one. I wish I could, but just stay tuned. I'm also doing a recital with LA Opera that will be streamed in, I think, later in April. And then I'm going to Amsterdam to sing an opera as well there. It'll be concert version. So that will also be streamed from Europe. So yeah, if you go to my website, everything will be there. And yeah, thank you for this opportunity for people to follow me, but also continue to follow all artists, and there are so many incredible opera singers. There's so many incredible Black opera singers of the diaspora. So yeah, go down the rabbit hole because we are here. We are really here, and there's some really great art happening, virtual art right now. Support Black artists, yes. And also there's actually a local nonprofit in Washington, D.C. that I support and it's very dear to me, called CAPA, the Coalition of African American Performing Artists.
Yay! We love CAPA at the AFRO.
Yes, so support CAPA. They're doing wonderful things, bringing color to the classics.
Yes.
Doing. And I actually, in my recital, a very special part of it is that I did a masterclass with one of the CAPA artists, young artists. So that will be also featured on the program.
Wow.
Yeah, so it's going to be a very different type of program. And yeah, I'm excited for people to tune in. Just don't go in with any expectations. Let it wash over you. I feel like that for me is, if I've learned anything from the pandemic, it's just let go. And open up to what God, the universe, is offering.
Absolutely. Absolutely. Janae, I knew I was going to have a good conversation, but I am so fired up and inspired. And thank you very, very much. Yeah, Patrick, thank you. I can just hear Terry Allen's voice.
Yes, Terry Allen, the founder of CAPA.
Yes. So yes, shout out Terry Allen. She gave me one of my first journalism opportunities ever, was as a broadcast journalist, was covering CAPA and doing covering their rehearsals all the way to a show. So shout out all the amazing things that CAPA's doing, and Terry Allen. And I saw that your mommy made a comment that I just want the people to know, because fact checking is important.
Wow, yeah, my mama, she's just on it. So my last live performance was at the Kennedy Center, Samson and Delilah, and Justice Ruth Bader Ginsburg. That was the last opera that she saw live as well. And we were able to have a conversation actually at a reception after one of the shows, and it was incredible, to have this. She was a small woman. I think she was maybe 5 feet, maybe, but she had such an enormous presence, and she was a very big supporter of mine, and she had many encouraging words to say. So her spirit lives on, and yeah, that's just something that was very special. It's full circle moment, kind of.
Absolutely, especially knowing all that you had done before with WPA and the tribute to her, and wow, the fact that she passed in 2020, and that you got that moment with her, I think means a lot. And thank you, Ms. Pam, for making sure that Janae shared that anecdote. Wow, I cannot believe we have been talking for 40 minutes. I could talk to you forever, Janae, but I know that you have a life and work to ensure that we are entertained, educated, empowered, and healed all at once. So I thank you so much for taking this time out to chat with us on Afro Live. I thank all of our viewers for tuning in. Follow Janae Bridges. Share this live stream We're live right now on Facebook. It'll be here forever, and it'll also live forever on YouTube. So share it, and be sure to go ahead and get a ticket through WPA, or just subscribe to the whole Home Delivery Plus series. It's a lot of great artists that Washington Performing Arts is making accessible to us right from our homes. So you don't want to miss it. And of course, Janae Bridges, March 26th through April 1st, she's bringing us Rising Together. Thank you, Janae.
Thank you, Misha. This has been so incredible. Hopefully the first of many.
For sure, for sure. We are claiming that.
Yes.
And take care to all of you guys. Make sure you mask up, wash your hands, stay safe, and remember Black Lives Matter.